This is the last part of the lecture on 3.2. We're going to be doing what's called an isometric drawing. And I was trying to think of a way that I can explain about isometric drawings. I first learned about isometric drawings when I was taking the blueprint reading class, the first one. And I never heard the term before, but I'd certainly done those kinds of drawings before. And here's what it's about. An isometric drawing does not really represent a 3D figure, in this case, this guy, truly proportional. In other words, when we view things, the further the object is away from it, the smaller it really is. So for example, let's say I had these two stick figures. Well, just unless I told you, you wouldn't know whether these two guys were side by side, and this is just a small person and this is a large person, or whether this guy is just closer to me than this guy being further away, maybe a lot further away, such that if they were both side by side, he'd be much taller than this fellow over here. So when you're looking at a regular photograph of something, or you're just looking at something in real life, you're looking at it more in perspective, where an isometric drawing isn't like that. In other words, if I'm standing here and I'm looking, let's say this is a building, and I'm looking down this building, it would make sense that this edge of the building would appear smaller than the edge where I'm standing. And the same thing true here, and the same thing true here. But for an isometric drawing, we don't do that. So if this truly is representing a building that, let's say, is 15 feet tall, and I have that shown on my drawing, I'm going to show the same height down here and also the same height over here. Now also, when you do an isometric drawing, the lines that that you're going to be using are truly going to be vertical, and they're all going to be vertical. And then the lines projecting off of that vertical line are going to be at a certain angle to the horizon, and this line is going to be parallel to this line, is going to be parallel to this line. And the same thing is true with this guy and this guy and this guy. So in this example that you're looking at here, I used this as a starting point. You have to have some starting point on your horizon. And I said that I wanted to draw this box such that this side was going to be exactly 32 degrees from my horizontal, and this guy was going to be 14 degrees from my horizontal. And I don't recall exactly what dimensions I put on here, but I would have to stipulate what dimensions I wanted. So it looks like this guy is somewhere around 8.3 centimeters long and so many centimeters wide. Looks like 4.2, and however many centimeters high, or millimeters, depending upon the units that I'm using. But that's what an isometric drawing is. These angles are specified for you. So what I want you to do is I want you to do a drawing similar to that, but it has to be these specific dimensions, 4 by 6 by 10 centimeter box like the one above. And I want you to use the left angle of 25 degrees. Instead of 14, it's going to be 25. And the right angle is going to be 35 instead of 32. So it's just a matter of perspective. So there's lots of different approaches that you can use on here, but basically it's the same shape, and I'm going to say that mine is going to be like 4 centimeters high, 6 centimeters wide, 10 centimeters deep. So the first thing that I'm going to do is find